Honorable Jeffrey Hall did not continue with his testimony as scheduled in this afternoon's session. Instead, his attorney, Melbourne Wilson, announced to the Commission that he was withdrawing himself as Honorable Hall's representative. That left Honorable Hall with the task of now having to seek a new lawyer, causing his testimony to be postponed. In light of the new developments, next on the list to appear before the Commission to give evidence was the former Minister of Health and Human Services, the Honorable Lillian Boyce. But before Boyce took the stand, the Commission took the time to attend to some other issues. Specifically, queries from the attorney for the chairman of the PNP party, Oliver Smith, on behalf of his client, Don Hugh Gardner, who has been summoned to testify before the Commission. According to Smith, the Commission has asked Gardner to declare and submit several documents, including bank statements dated before the time that Gardner entered politics. The Commissioner, Sir Robin Auld, rejected Smith's application and requested that Gardner appear before the Commission to testify as scheduled, and if he did not, the Commissioner would refer the matter to the Attorney General. Smith conceded and complied with the Commissioner's request by providing the Commission with the documents that were asked for and made it clear that Gardner will appear before the Commission to testify as scheduled. Another matter arose before Honorable Boyce took the stand concerning another witness that is scheduled to give evidence before the Commission tomorrow, the Premier's estranged wife, Lisa Ray McCoy-Mizik. McCoy-Mizik's lawyer, Tim Purdue, addressed the Commission, complaining that the Premier's lawyers had been rejecting his request for documents in relation to his client that were brought up in the Premier's testimony. In response, the Premier's lawyer, Edward Fitzgerald, said that they were concerned that the documents that were requested would be taken and used by McCoy-Mizik and her lawyer in divorce proceedings between herself and the Premier. He also said that they had not been provided with the witness statement made by McCoy-Mizik. McCoy-Mizik's lawyer made it clear that they did not seek to obtain the documents for use in divorce proceedings and later provided McCoy-Mizik's witness statement to the Commission. That matter was laid to rest for the time being, and the Honorable Lillian Boyce was sworn in on the stand. Again, Senior Counsel to the Commission, Alex Mill, began his examination with questions about declarations made to the Registrar of Interests. According to Mill's evidence, Honorable Boyce received a grade high above the rest of ministers in her declarations to the Registrar of Interests, but there were still issues. According to Mill, there was no record at all for the year 2004. He inquired why. Honorable Boyce said that she was aware of the omission. She's testified that she did not know if it got lost in transit, but she knows that she normally fills out all the forms throughout the years. Mill laid that matter to rest and moved on into a different topic, a topic that actually had come up during Honorable Jeffrey Hall's examination in the morning session. The topic concerning the sale of a company, Urban Development Limited, and 4 parcels of land, eventually to developer David Wext. Mill evidence and Honorable Boyce confirmed that one of the 4 men involved in the sale, Earlson Robinson, was Honorable Boyce's brother. She confirmed that Robinson received $1 million for his share of the sale profit. That money, she confirmed through testimony, went into a bank account for a company that she owns, is the director of, and for which her 3 children serve as shareholders, KSK. Honorable Boyce testified that her brother brought her the check. She says she asked him to borrow $600,000 of that money to use as security or collateral for a loan that she wanted for her rental car company. She testified that of the remainder of the money, the $1 million, $300,000 went into the rebuilding of their mother's home, and a $100,000 loan went to the Premier. Before delving into questions about the loan to the Premier, Mill sought to find out whether Honorable Boyce had declared interest and left the room when Urban Development Limited proposal for the development of land, to which Honorable Hall had testified earlier in the day, had come before Cabinet. Honorable Boyce testified that she did not recall leaving the room. She said that at the time she did not know that her brother was involved in Urban Development Limited, and at the time she did not know much about the company. Moving on from that, we'll get back to a portion of the money that was given to the Premier as a loan, the $100,000. Honorable Boyce testified that at the time her brother was not a wealthy man. Therefore, Mill wanted to find out why the Premier would seek to borrow money from her brother instead of directly from her, since she had more means than her brother. Honorable Boyce testified that the Premier had approached her, saying that he was, quote, broke, and asked her to ask her brother for the loan. She said she was approached and pressured numerous times by the Premier, leading her to believe that he was genuinely in need of the money. She said she was disappointed when she read the Commission's transcripts of the Premier's testimony, revealing that he had money. She said that she had since asked the Premier for the money, but his has not been repaid, and now she is being pressured by her brother to get that money back. Mill took those answers and proceeded to make a suggestion on what he thinks took place in relation to the entire land and company sale deal between developer David Wax and the Honorable Jeffrey Hall, Samuel Bean, Earlson Robinson, and Quinton Hall. He revealed that of the 4 people who received profits from the sale, 3 of those persons, through evidence thus far, Honorable Boyce's brother Earlson Robinson, Honorable Floyd Hall's brother Quinton Hall, and Honorable Jeffrey Hall all loaned the Premier the exact sum of $100,000 each. He suggested that the monies were not loans at all, but kickbacks. Honorable Boyce disagreed on behalf of her brother, saying that she understood that her brother was involved in a sensible deal, and that she did not see why the Premier would want a kickback from it. Mill insisted that none of the loans to the Premier were loans because none of them had been repaid. Honorable Boyce again replied on her brother's behalf that it was a loan. The Premier told her it was one and that he would repay it. That issue was also laid to rest, and the issue of scholarships was brought up. Mill referenced an audit report on the Scholarship Committee in October 2006, during the time that Honorable Boyce was the minister responsible for education. According to Mill, the report noted that there had been numerous letters from the Deputy Premier and the Premier instructing the committee to grant scholarships to students outside of the Scholarship Committee's scrutiny. Mill sought to find out whether Honorable Boyce had asked the ministers to, quote, back off. Honorable Boyce testified that she had. She said at the time, TCI citizens were excited about the opportunities, and many went directly to ministers, including herself, to acquire scholarships. She admitted that at times she too gave in. However, she said that once the scholarship policy came into effect, she tried to ensure that it was adhered to. Even still, she said, persons would still go to individual ministers for assistance. Mill noted that one student who received a scholarship outside of the committee was Honorable Boyce's daughter. Honorable Boyce testified that her daughter was granted a scholarship along with 47 other students in a pre-cabinet meeting with the approval from other government ministers. Mill noted that that process was still outside of the scholarship committee. On the issue of check refunds being returned from universities made payable to Honorable Lillian Boyce was brought up, Honorable Boyce turned the dice and asked a question of her own. She wanted Mill to state for the record and for the public whether the Commission had found any checks from universities in the U.S., the U.K., or the TCI written to her. Mill said no. That was the final topic in Honorable Boyce's examination for the day. However, there were further matters discussed involving Lisa Ray McCoy-Mizik. According to Mill, McCoy-Mizik had other witnesses from overseas that are scheduled to testify tomorrow, and because of travel arrangements, they will not be able to give testimony on Monday if the proceedings went over to that day. The Commission then requested that Honorable Boyce, who had not been fully examined, come back early next week instead to finish testimony. On the schedule for tomorrow up until press time were Georgia Dunn, Michael Dunn, and Lisa Ray McCoy-Mizik. For WIV4 News, I'm Joy Del Trail.